Well, what a lovely positive bite that was. We're officially into winter and it's all about maggot fishing. And in this video, we're covering everything about maggots, so keep watching. And as an added bonus, we've got some awesome new Matrix products up for grabs. Right, we're back at one of my favourite venues, Tunnel Barn Farm, and we've sat ourselves down on peg 19 on Newpool today. A lovely lake, a big winey lake, proper snake lake, perfect for this winter F1 and carp fishing. But what we've come down today is to do an ultimate Maggot Masterclass video. We're going to be going into finer detail on all the rigs, where you choose to fish in your peg, what depths of water you fish in your peg, and also about getting these lovely maggots in tip-top shape. So keep watching and I hope you enjoy this video. Right, before we get any fishing done, I think what we'll do is I'll run you through the bait. Now, there's not really much to talk about on the bait section for this because all we're fishing today is maggots, but I still feel like it's important. There's a few things that are important. Now, the first one is, when I go to my local tackle shop, I've got quite a few local tackle shops by me, I'll go in, and if I feel like the quality of maggots not great, I will actually go to another tackle shop to try and get the best quality maggots that I can, because it is so important to get the best maggot that you can. Now, what I mean by that is the freshest and the biggest maggots, especially in the winter time, because you're fishing longer out your peg, so you're feeding your bait longer out your peg. So if you're catapulting some bait with a bigger maggot, it's easier to get it longer out your peg, more accurate round your float. And also, if you're putting it in through a pot and you're tapping them maggots out, they make more noise on the water surface with a bigger maggot. So yeah, make sure you get the best quality maggot that you can. Now, preparing your maggots, there is a little bit of preparation that you need to do as well when you're preparing your maggots. So what I like to do is, these maggots I've got here today, I got them from the shop at Tunnel Barn Farm. I know the good quality maggots because I come here a lot. They're Lane's maggots actually, and they're brilliant, big massive maggots, which is perfect for today. But naturally, you always get some sawdust on your maggots. So what I do is, I put my maggots on the riddle, and literally I'll just wriggle off that sawdust, get rid of it, that sawdust that the maggots come in, and then tip your maggots back in the bucket. And then after that, what I'll do is I'll put my maggots onto the riddle and leave them for a minute or two while you're setting up your tackle, and let them maggots wriggle through the riddle, because you want to take off some dead skins. You always get some dead skins in your maggots because it's important to get them off, because when you're feeding them, you don't want them floating in your peg, especially on a day like today when it's windy. They can float out your peg, and I'm a believer that them F1s will sort of drift out your peg sometimes with your floating bait. So you definitely want to get rid of them skins off your maggot. But once you've let them all riddle through into the bucket, then the important thing is to remaze your maggots. So I get some fresh maize and just tip it, put a bit on top, put a few pinches on top of your maggots. I've got 3 pints of maggots here for today's session, plenty, probably too much really. Sometimes you only need a pint in the depths of winter, but I've brought 3 pints just in case it's going to be one of them days where it's really good fishing. So once you've put your maize on top, give it a stir about, and you've just remazed your maggots, and what that does is, them maggots take that maize on and it makes them nice and soft, easier for hooking them on, and just makes them look bigger and plumper and fresher. So that's the maggots prepared. Let's move over to rigs and go into detail on what rigs I've set up for today and why I've set them rigs up. So before we get fishing, which I think this is a really important part to take in, is we're going to run through where I've chose to fish in my peg, and also where I've plumbed up as well, because that's really important, finding the right depths of water. I've actually plumbed all my rigs up. I've plumbed 3 rigs up today in 3 different depths of water. It's important to do that to cover all your depths options, because in the winter time, them fish, they want to feed in different depths of water on different days. Now, I've plumbed up all my rigs like I just said. What I've done is I've plumbed the rig up in 4.5 foot, which is the deepest part of my peg. I do like to do that, find the deepest part of my peg, because I feel like in the winter time, a lot more fish sit in them deeper areas. So I've done that in 4.5 foot. And then I found another depth at 3.5 foot, which is at 13 metres towards the pot to my left. And then I've set a short rig up at 3 foot. So I'm covering my depth options in 3 different depths of water there. I don't feel like in the depths of winter fish will come any shallower than 3 foot, just because the water's so clear, they don't want to come tighter in the edge into that shallower water. So I've covered 3 depth options, but we're going to run you through the actual 3 rigs. So we'll start with my deepest rig. Now, elastic choice for this, I've gone for the 8 to 10s green slick, the ultimate winter elastic for me. So soft, loads of it comes out, even in these little short kits that I'm using today, loads of elastic comes out, but powers up as well at the same time, so it can handle skimmers, roach, perch, because you're fishing for anything that swims this time of year as well at the same time. So if you do get a perch and a roach, you want to make sure you get them all in, because the matches, less weights now, different species of fish feed, especially when you're fishing maggots, and this elastic has got you covered. Now, main line, I've gone for 0.14 soft steel, nice soft main line, but it's still strong enough because these fish are slowing down now, they're not fighting as hard, so I think that's fine. 0.14 soft steel main line. Also as well, I like to fish a softer main line, especially this time of year and when you're fishing with maggots, because I feel like it falls nicer through the water and you're catching fish on the drop. It's not as stiff and doesn't catch the water tension as well, comes through the water tension really nice. So yeah, I'm fishing 0.14 soft steel main line. Now the float for my deep water line is an F1 Slim in a 0.3 of a gram. This takes 7 number 10s, and I've got this shotted as a bulk and 2 droppers, but I use Stots me as a rule. The reason why I use Stots is because, again, when you're fishing that thinner main line, with shot, I feel like it marks your main line. With Stots, you can be dead versatile with it, move it up and down on the line. So for instance, if I'm catching here on a bulk and 2 droppers, and then I feel like, oh, there's fish to be caught on the drop, I can change that rig into a strung out rig through my rig dead quick, because I'm using Stots, and not damage my line. But at the minute, I've got it set up as a bulk and 2 droppers, 5 number 10s, and then 2 number 10 droppers 6 inch apart. Now, we'll go to the hook length. I've got 0.12 soft steel hook length, nice, soft, fine hook length for this time of year. You really want to be stepping everything down terminal tackle now. I see a lot of people still fishing like they're fishing summer hook lengths and main line. You need to step everything down, it'll guarantee you more bites. Now, my hook for this, I've got a size 18s X2, our smallest hook in the range. You need to get a really small hook this time of year as well, and our thinnest gauge hook in the range as well. A thinner gauge hook's really important. So that's my deepest water rig. And then we'll move on to my next rig in 3.5 foot. Now, it's identical, 8 to 10s green slick, 0.14 main line, same float, an F1 Slim. This time it's in 0.2 of a gram. It's just because I'm fishing in shallower water. I'm only fishing in 3.5 foot, and this time I've got it shotted with a bulk and 1 dropper and a 4 inch hook length this time as well. Again, 0.12 hook length and an 18s X2 hook. The reason why I've opted for a bulk and dropper on this is I just think it complements the rig nicely, it just suits in well with the rig. Again, I can always change that about because I'm using Stots, they move nice and easy on your main line. If I want to do that, the same as my deeper rig, if I want to change that to a strung out rig, I can do, or if I want to change it to a bulk and 2 droppers, I can do that as well. So that's that rig. I forgot to mention on my first rig, I have this on all my rigs, I like to fish a longer length of line but from my float tip to my connector, just because this time of year the water's clearing up, the fish become a lot more spooky, you can keep your pole tip out the way, and also on them days when it's really windy and your pole's moving about all over the place, I have 2 number 8 back shots, and you can hold on to them back shots and keep your float on your marker all the time. We all know how important it is to keep that float bang on your marker all the time where you've plumbed up, because these lakes, the variation of depth changes all over the place. If you're not on your marker, you could be off bottom and you will not get any bites when you're off the bottom. It's important to be fishing on the bottom. So that's for that rig, and then we'll move on to the final rig. And to be honest with you, it's identical to that rig that I've just shown you. Again, 8 to 10s green slick, mainline 0.14 soft steel, bit of a longer lash from me float tip to my connector, 2 number 8 back shots, down to that business end, a bulk and 1 dropper, a 4 inch hook length of 0.12 soft steel, and an 18s X2 hook. Just exactly the same as my other rig, but this time the depth is 3 foot that I'm fishing in. So that's covered all my depth options that I feel like is important for this time of year. But that's the rigs. So like I just touched on, I'm a massive fan of the F1 Super Short kits. The reason being is our slick elastic complements these kits beautiful. Our slick elastic so soft, comes out lovely in all grades, but powers up so well in these short kits. Also as well, when you're playing fish round your feet with these kits, the fish pops up right in front of you and you can net them and be quick and efficient. Also as well, what I like to do, especially in the winter time and in the summer, but in the winter time especially, I like to set up loads of rigs on these short kits and I can hook them up, put them in my top kit case, and then when I get to my peg, when I'm on a match situation and I've drawn a peg, I'll go there, look at the conditions, and I'll get out the rigs that I need for that day, and they're already set up on my kit, so all I have to do is plumb them up then and I'm ready for that match. Also as well, when it's deeper than an actual short kit, what I actually do myself is I get one of our short number 3s and I add that as well. It just makes it back to the same length as a match kit, and you can hook your rig up on the bottom. So we have a number of these short 3s as well at the same time in my bag, so I can just pull them out as well. I just feel like it's really important on these Snake Lakey venues to fish these short kits for them reasons. And also as well, a cheeky little bonus, at Matrix we've just brought out some 8 metre spools of elastic in the slick. And with these little 1.7 metre short kits, I've just done it because I've literally only just got this pole with my short kits, and you can get 6 top kits out of 8 metres for $19.99. That is a bargain for me. So take all that into consideration. Now, let's move on to getting some fishing done. Right, so we've run through the bait, we've run through the rigs, and it's now time to get into the fishing. So let's get some fishing done. Now, as I said to you, I've picked 3 different depths of water to fish in today. I've picked a line at 13 metres to my right, that's the deepest part of my peg. And what I've opted to do on that line is to feed that a little bit more aggressive. So I've got 2 lines today basically long. I've got a 13 metre line to my left and a 13 metre line to my right in that deeper water, and one's in the shallow water. Now the shallow water line in 3.5 foot, I'm going to pop that in, and that's where I'm going to start the session. It's literally going to be dead negative with that line, put a little pot on, tapping 8 to 10 maggots in and be patient. I think that's a really good starting point as well, but that other line I'm going to be trickling bait in through a catapult during the session and then drop on that as well at some point. And then obviously I've got my short line that I'm going to be chucking some maggots on, but I feel like that short line is for probably later in the session. So what I'll do is we'll get into the session first and start off on that negative line. I'll just grab my rig. I've already got my pot on, it's just a medium Matrix pot. I do like the medium one without one of our sprinkle lids on, just because if I want to put 8 to 10 maggots in, I can. If I want to put 20, 30 maggots in there, I can, and have regular feeding, turning my pot over. But we're just going to start the session really negative. Just going to put 8 to 10 maggots in my pot, double maggot on the hook. So we'll look 2 maggots on first. I always like to put 2 maggots on when I'm fishing on the bottom. I just think it's more of a standout bait than your loose maggots that are single baits, and a fish can pick it out better on the bottom. I always up my maggots on pointy end, so the thin end of the maggot just leaves loads of hook points showing, so when that fish sucks your hook in and tries to reject it, it can't spit it out and you've got more chance of hooking the fish. So I've got double maggot on, and then I'm just going to put 8 to 10 maggots in the pot. This is just a really negative start to the match, but I like to do that because it gives me more chance to try and work out how the fishing's going to be, because every day is different in fishing. One day it could be a day where you're potting all your bait and you're getting regular bites all day, and then another day it could be where you cut your line and more numbers of fish have come in on that more of aggressive line and you get better runs doing that. But this is just a starting point, this. I do like to cover both my options as well if I can. And on this peg, because it's a big open water bowl, I can do that. I can put various lines in different areas. which we have done today. But we're going to start on this negative line, see how we get on. So get on your marker. I've got a little marker on that little pot in front of me. It's like a little tree leaf. Make sure you're on your marker and turn your pot over and tap them maggots out. Make sure you tap them out from a height. Just make a bit of noise on the water surface, trying to draw something into your peg, and then flick your rigging. I always like to flip my rig towards the deeper part of my peg so it's all coming back on a nice arc and lines up on your marker then. And then just lower your back shots to the water and then hold on to your back shots and let your rig do the work coming through the water. It'll all settle up in a minute and that float will just drop down to a pimple, which is perfect, and we're fishing now. And we're just trying to read our peg now to see what's going on. This is how I'd start any match situation. You don't want to go hell for leather at it, start putting loads of bait in, because sometimes they could be back off from loads of bait and don't want to come in over loads of bait, and you can just wreck your peg straight away. But also as well, I've gone in and fed this now with 8 to 10 maggots. Don't think that in 5 minutes time, because you've not had a bite, that you need to switch lines quickly. It might take a couple of feeds to get the fish coming into your peg. That's generally the case. It might take 2 or 3 feeds before I start catching one. Sometimes you might catch one straight away, but just be a little bit patient with it and let your peg develop basically. But like I said, that other line as well, that's going to be my line. To my right is going to be the line that I'm going to loose feed a bit of bait on, try and draw more numbers of fish into my peg. What I like about this where I've chose today is they're not really close to each other. So they're out the way from each other, which I think is really important as well. Sometimes you can't do that. So then you've just got to sort of fish in that one spot, start negatively and try and work out whether you need to start loose feeding some bait on that line, just if you've got nowhere to go. But today on this peg, we've got 2 little areas where we can fish quite a way away from each other, not too close to each other, so you're not got your lines nice and tight to each other. You don't want that really close. But be patient. It's quite blustery today, so them back shots are doing the work. It's really important to make sure you stay on your marker and just be patient. And we're just going to see how it develops. I'm going to give this 5 minutes. If I don't get an indication or a bite, I'll come back, refeed again, and just see what happens. But I'm hoping that we can try and get one straight away. That's what we'd all like to happen. Oh, we had an indication then. Oh, missed a bite then. That's a good sign. Flick that rig back in. It's a nice sign that I've had an indication. But that was in probably a minute. And I've had that indication. So that's a good sign. But I flip my rig back in again, let it all come through. These fish, this time of year, the water's clearing up, catch a lot of fish on the drop as your rig's coming through the water. When more numbers of fish come into your peg as well, especially on that loose feeding line, you'll have it loads of times where you'll flick your rig in, and as your rig's coming through the water, just as it hits the bottom and settles up, you get that little dink on the float because they've watched it coming through the water, they've travelled down with your hook bait and just picked it up. Oh, missed another bite then. Flick that rig back in. That was a fast bite, that then. If I miss another bite, I'm going to come back and feed it again because I feel like they'll have eaten all my maggots that are on the bottom if there was some fish there. But keep that feed going in on that right-hand line as well. Only a little and off, but often. I really like to do that with a catapult. I think loose feeding is really important because it just makes more noise. And what you're doing on that line as well to your right is your feed's spread on a bigger area. It's not tight like you are when you're potting it in. Some days that can be brilliant, just spreading your bait out on a bigger surface area. There we go, straight away. Well, that didn't take long to get that first fish. Feels like a nice fish, this as well. Take your time. There's no need to rush in the winter. Every fish counts. He's not fighting, so you can see that they're sort of slowing down all the fish. He's a beauty, actually. A lovely little stocky. I'll hold him up for you. if he behaves. Look at him. Beauty. Lovely little fish. Oh. Put him in the net. Quite lively. He didn't want to fight then and then started being lively in the net. But that's a beautiful start. So we've got off to a great start. We've literally gone in, first feed, and now had our first fish. So we're going to go back in, repeat the process. Double maggot again, pointy end. That's so important. Just have loads of hook points showing. And I'm going to put 8 to 10 maggots in the pot. Now something I've not touched on yet that I think is really important as well is, before you go out, dunk your pot. So just dunk it under the water surface, and what that does is, just keeps them maggots in your pot, so when you're shipping out and if your pole bounces every now and again, they're not going to come out your pot. And also as well, when you turn your pot over and release your bait, they come out a little bit slower, not too fast all at once, and then they're falling at different rates through the water surface, which is what you want this time of year. So I'm on my marker, and turn your pot over, tap your bait in. As you can see, it plopping on the water, lovely. And that's why it's so important to get them big maggots as well at the same time. Flick your rigging, then just let everything come back on itself. And I've got my catty in hand, and I'm loose feeding a bit of bait on that right hand line. Keep that bait going in little and often. And then we're set fishing again. But what a lovely start. Fish straight away, which is exactly what you want. Going to get off to a flying start. That rig's just settled up now. Like I say, it's only a 0.2 of a gram rig this. It only takes 5 number 10s. It falls through nice and slow, lovely, which is exactly what you want. Then I'm just going to sit and be patient and wait for that nice little dink on the float. This time of year, your bites are, because I've got my float dotted right down, that's important as well. Dot your float right down to a pimple, because these bites are just little, they literally just suck it in and it's like little tiny dinks on the float. Sometimes in the depth of winter, you can have your float dotted right down. I've had this in the past, and you see like a little wobble on the float and it's not gone under. And you'll lift up thinking, is that a bite or is there one on? And literally there's a big F1 on the end of it. So it's important to dot your float right down. What I like to do sometimes as well is get a little blob of bristle grease and just bristle grease your float. So you've got it sometimes when you're fishing long out your peg, especially this time of year when all the trees have got no leaves on. The light can be terrible to see your float on the water because of all the broken trees sometimes. So I put a blob of bristle grease on, just brightens it up, makes it more visible for you to see. So that's really important as well. I'm hoping it doesn't take long to get another bite. Pick that catapult back up. 8 to 10 maggots in the catapult. Catty on that right hand line. As you can see, I'm just putting that bait in little and often, building that right hand line, because they're so crafty, these fish. They'll come in your peg when they know you're not fishing on a line, come in confidently feeding, and then I've had it loads in the past where you'll drop on that line that you've primed up and get an initial run of like 4 or 5 F1s, and then it go funny on you. Just because they've wised up, they know you're in your peg, they've seen a few of the mates caught, bit of disturbance, and then they'll back off. So it's important to prime your lines. But just be patient. What's really important as well is keep your eye out. Sometimes you'll see an odd blow come out, pimple, just a sign that there's a fish there in your peg. You get that a lot also as well when you're trying to locate your fish sometimes, so where you're going to put your lines at the start of a session. Just when you get to your peg, have a look around. If you see fish topping in an area, generally he's got his mates there with him and there's more than one. Oh yes, we're in again. What a lovely bite that was, little dink. This elastic's beautiful for this time of year. The 8 to 10 green slick in these 1.7 super short kits. He's a lovely F1, this one. They're not fighting today, so you can really tell that the fish are proper slowing down. I come to this venue quite regular. I was here not so long ago, and it was a lot more coloured than this. There was a lot more colour in the lake, and that's a sign that the fish are slowing down as well for winter. When the colour drops out the lake, it's 90% of the time it's because the fish have stopped moving about as aggressive, starting to ball up. So the colour drops out the lake. It's actually the fish that colour up the lakes because they're moving about, rooting for bait and stuff like that. So if you come to on your matches and you look at the lake and it's gin clear, it's definitely a sign that it's going to be a proper winter's match. But wow, 2 fish, 2 drops, what more can you ask for? Let's keep going. Right, we've got off to a flying start. So there's no need to do anything different at the minute. Just keep going, just keep plugging away at that line. Like I say, just keep building it. The more you keep putting some bait in, it's going to go one way or the other. It's either going to get better and you can keep going, or it's going to start to fizzle out, and then you're thinking in the back of your mind it's time to change lines and have a try on that more of aggressive line. I do feel like at some point you've got to try that line, that more of aggressive line, because you could drop on it. You could drop in on that aggressive line that you're catapulting, and it'd be absolutely solid. So make sure you don't actually spend too much line on this, too much time on this one line. People get stuck in the ways with that sometimes. I see them spending too much time on a line. As I've explained to you, the crafted these F1s, they know when you're not in your peg. So keep swapping through your lines. It's so important. But I'm repeating that process again. Tapping my bait in from a height, flicking my rigging, letting everything come back on an arc, right on your marker, and then just be patient. It's about patience this time of year as well. Don't get frustrated. Be patient. Again, I've said it before, the weights are a lot lower. There's matches won with £30 middle of winter sometimes. It's not a lot of bites, it's just a steady day. So you can afford to be a lot more patient. So we've got a wicked competition going here. You could have a chance of winning some of our new hooks, our X1s, X2s and X4s, suited to maggot fishing, to cover you for all your silvers, F1s and carp. All you have to do is tell me in the comments below how many fish I caught on my short line, and good luck. Right, before we drop onto that right-hand line, I just want to run you through pots and catapults, because this time of year, especially when you're fishing maggots, they're so important. Now, here at Matrix, we do medium and small pots. I like to stick to the medium pot and the small pot at this time of year. Just perfect, really. On the medium pot, I have the sprinkle lid, one with a sprinkle lid on, and then I have a pot with the open lid on. Now, they both do different jobs. The sprinkle lid is the one what I've been using today, where you put a few maggots in, turn your pot over and tap them out at a height, and it releases bait at different times. And then the open lid, I use that for when I want to clump some bait in, so I'll fill the pot up, dunk it before I go out. When I go out, I'll turn the pot over and it releases all the maggots in one, so they go down in sort of a funnel together to the bottom. That's probably times when I'm fishing in the deeper water pegs, when I've been loose feeding a bit of bait and I want to try and tighten my feed up, I go for that pot. And also when it's rock hard and I want to try and really restrict myself to feeding them maggots, I use the small pot with the sprinkle lid on. That'll fit a really small amount of maggots in, and you can just restrict yourself to putting too many maggots in your pot. Also as well, I like to use that little diddy pot when I'm fishing really long across in the middle of winter or really long out my peg and it's windy. Just having that smaller pot on, the wind can't catch it as much and it just stops it picking up your pole and dragging you out of position. So they're the 3 pots that I use generally for this time of year in the winter. Now, catapult wise, here at Matrix we have the large framed catapults and the smaller frame catapults. What I do is in the summertime, I'm a big fan of the larger range catapults, but then during the winter time, I step them down to the smaller frame. I use both the light and the heavy. Depends on what the weather conditions are like. If it's really windy, I'll use the heavy catapult. If it's flat calm, I like to use the light catapult. These are ideal for when you're catapulting bait, anywhere between 8 and 13 metres. They're really good. What this does is, it has the smaller pouch on it from our large range of catapults, and again, it restricts you from putting too many maggots in your actual catapult and feeding too much bait. I've stressed this loads today that little amounts of bait is so important this time of year. If you start feeding too many maggots, you can destroy your peg and wreck your day's fishing. So that's pots and catapults. Let's get onto that right hand line and catch some fish. Right, we're going to drop in on that right hand line and hopefully we get an instant impact. We have been priming it for a while now. And what I like to do is get to just before where you're fishing in your peg, put 8 to 10 maggots in the catapult, feed them on your marker, and then ship the rest of the way out and flip your rig in. You always like to flip my rig into the deepest part of my peg and let it come back on that arc. Let everything fall through really nice. Read your float. You'll see when it hits the bottom, there you go, it's just settled up on the bottom now. It's in that last little bit of my float pole tip, dot down. Missed a bite then. Flick that rig back in again. Like I said, I've opened up that short line now, so I'm going to keep putting a bit of bait on that as well at the same time. I think that's going to be my line that I drop on for the last part of my session. Normally when you catch some short as well, the big old fish, big old F1s that have drifted in, started feeding on that short line. As you can see, my float's dotted right down to a pimple. Oh yes, straight away into one. Oh, it's come off. He was foul hooked. What I'm going to do, come back, check my bait, make sure it's all right. I always like to make sure my bait's fine. Yeah, it looks all right. Shots are in the right position. Back out. Again, get to where, just before where you're fishing. 8 to 10 maggots in the catapult. Feed twice. And then flick your rig in. Let everything fall through together, lovely. I think I've touched on it before on that other line. Oh my God, did you see that one? Literally pulled my elastic out as I'd flicked my rig in. That was a beautiful demonstration of why you should flick your rig in. That was a lovely bite, that on the drop. Perfect. And this is why we use them light, slow falling rigs this time of year. Take your time, no rush. And as you can see, I've just broke down on that short free as well. Like he explained when we was going through the rigs, he's a proper fish, look at him. And then all I do is I just ship back to my puller and play it like this. It's dead simple and easy to do. Just once you get used to it, he's a nice fish. What a fish. Beautiful F1. Great start on that line. What a lovely fish. Beauty. Well, that was a perfect demonstration of why you flick your rig in and catching fish on the drop with these light, slow falling rigs. But we're going to repeat that process, keep going at it. Set them maggots off, like I said to you before, like putting fresh maggots on all the time. There's definitely a few fish there because we've missed a couple of bites and then gone in and caught that one. Get to that point just before where you're fishing in your peg. 8 to 10 maggots in your catapult. Look at that, right on my marker. These are brilliant, these catapults, for this type of fishing. And then flick that rigging. Your rig's falling through now with them that loose feed that's falling down nice and slow. Keep an eye on your float, try and read your float. Make sure your float's on your marker as well. Oh, missed another bite then. There's a few fish there. Chuck some bait on that short line, keep it going in. As you can see through this video, I'm always thinking of my next move and my next line to go on all the time. So important. Oh yes. Proper fish on this line. This is great fishing. What a winter's day's fishing we're having here. I could just tell when I was on that tapping some bait in line that there was a few feeding fish to be caught today. But as you can see, I'm not rushing. My elastic's doing the work. And you can see how much elastic's coming out, even in these little diddy short kits. Break down on that short free. Just play it on your top kit. Oh yeah, another carp, lovely fish. Proper better stamped fish on this line as well. Lovely fish. Look at that. Whoa. Beautiful mirror. Oh, he's a fighter. Nice. Get him in the net. You come out and behave, there you go. And then we'll go back in. I don't feel like I need to do anything different. I'm just going to keep fishing this line out until it starts to fade again. And then once I think it starts to fade, I'm going to drop on that short line. But we'll go in, see if we can get another one. Just like sort of a process that I'm doing. I'm just repeating that process every time. Get to just about before where you're fishing in your peg. 8 to 10 maggots in your catapult. Feed it twice. And then flick that rig out. So important to flick that rig out. Like you seen with that first fish. I caught that as it was falling through. It was a beautiful bite. These floats, you can read them so well. Bites show up on them beautiful as well. Hit a liner then. Yes. We're in again. It's a proper old fish as well, this. There's old fish on that line. And it's just proof in the pudding that of why you should put a negative and a positive line in if you can and get away with it. Because today, if I'd have just potted my bait all day, yeah, I'd have caught, because we did catch some fish, but we would never caught as regular as we are now. And it seems like the stamp are better as well on this line. Some lovely fish in this lake. I've had a mix, I've had some skimmers as well. I've had some skimmers, carp, little F1s. These like a blondie F1, this one. He's a beauty. What a fantastic fishing session we're having here today. But you will catch everything because we're fishing maggots, and that's why it's so good at this time of year, because everything eats maggots. Everything that swims eats maggots. So yeah, we're having a fantastic session here today. But I'm just going to keep plodding away at this line here now until I feel like it starts fizzling out. It's getting later in the day, and I'm hoping I can proper clatter them on that short line for the last part of this session. So we've got something really exciting going on at Matrix at the minute. We've got the new Club Matrix community page. I'm a member, it's brilliant. There's loads of posts going on there from our consultants and from you lot yourselves. It's been fantastic. We've had loads of good response. There's loads of members so far as well. Also, what's in there is loads of competitions. So if you're not a member, scan the QR code and head over there now. So, as you can see, the light's dropping, it's getting to that final part of my session now. Had a fantastic run on that long line, it was unbelievable, some proper stamp fish. It was a great move to move from that tapping in bait to that long line, but that started to fizzle out a little bit now, and I feel like them fish are surely got to be coming on this short line. I've been priming it up, regular. Oh, look at that, I've just dropped straight in and got one straight away. And that, as you can see, I've timed me match or my fishing session right, and this is what happens. You time everything right, it all goes smoothly and goes to plan. But that's straight away, like literally as my rig settled up, I was into a fish. But it is getting to that time of day now where the light is dropping. Perfect time for them fish to drift in off them long lines, come in and eat some bait short. But that was brilliant. What a phenomenal day I've had here today. For a winter's day's fishing, it's just been unbelievable. Just steady away all day. Mainly F1s, odd little carp as well. I've had a couple of little mirror carp, a common carp as well, but mainly F1s. That's the good thing about F1 fishing. Look at that, that is just frightening how good it is. That is phenomenal. Now, as you've seen, when he hooked a fish, I've chucked 8 to 10 maggots in again. All I'm doing there is I'm just priming my peg back up, trying to get them back in to settle back down for next time I go back in. But this is just unbelievable now, just because I've timed my line right. Bit of bad netting skills there, but we've got him this time round. Beautiful. This is fantastic, this. I'll go in and try and catch you one more for the camera. Again, we've seen all the rigs, I'm doing nothing different. The rigs are what we went through this morning. I've not changed anything on the rigs. The shotting patterns I've kept the same all day. The bulk and one dropper on this line, bulk and one dropper on that tapping baiting line, and the bulk and two droppers on that long line as well. They've worked lovely for me today. But again, I'm just putting double maggot on, hooking it pointy end. Yep. So what an impact, straight in. Dropping on our line and got my first fish straight away, literally as my rig settled up, and that's just about timing your lines. I've had a great start tapping some bait in. Then we switched to that more aggressive line to my right. Had a fantastic run there, caught some big F1s on that, some big old uns, and then we've dropped onto this short line. Last part of my session, when them fish are drifting in off your long line, coming in short, inquisitive, after some bait, and it's just straight away. You can just tell there's some fish there. Oh yes. Lovely bite again. Always come off him. Might have been foul hooked. Fix me rig. You are going to get that. It's inevitable. Yep, your maggots are fine. He was definitely foul hooked him. Flick that rig back in again. Chuck 8 to 10 maggots at your float. Try and be as accurate as you can when you're feeding. I've had it in the past where you get your maggots right round your float, instantly it goes under. Oh, look at that. So good. Yeah, that was a lovely bite, that. It's definitely in the mouth, this one. Set your time. Beautiful elastic, this, for this time of year. Oh, it's a lovely F1 in. Yes. Brilliant. I don't have to change anything, just keep going at it. Try and get excel your line, try and get as much out of it as you can now. It's that last little part of your session. Double maggot on the hook again. Hook it pointy end. It's so important that. Just have that up point showing. Again, flick your rig out. 8 to 10 maggots right round your float. Be as accurate as you can. So important when you're doing this type of fishing. An indication when my rig was coming through then. Everything's settled up now and I'm on my marker. Oh, I missed a bite then. Drop that rig straight back in. That can be really good sometimes as well. If you miss a bite, drop it back down straight away. Get another bite at the cherry sometimes. Off that same fish. I missed another bite. Try it again. Drop that rig back down. This is just because of time of day as well, this now. There's definitely a lot of fish drifted in, feeding. It's brilliant. Oh, yes. Oh, feels like a big fish. Oh, look at the size of that. Feed some maggots before you come back. You do that just because you're priming that peg back up, getting them fish confident, back on your line, so when you drop in, you can catch one straight away again. It's another blondie, that. I've had some fish today. It's been unbelievable. Beautiful. Change them maggots. Said that quite a bit today. Always putting fresh maggots on all the time. Check my shot in, perfect. None of them's moved. Flick that rig in. Feed 8 to 10 maggots, accurate round my float. They were lovely, they went in beautiful. Let everything come back. And then you're fishing again. Just about being patient. It's been a blistering cold wind today. I can feel it getting colder as well now, that light's dropping. Ooh, missed a bite again then. You see how I've dropped my rig straight back down. I didn't pull my full rig out the water. Just dropped it straight back in, see if I can get another bite at the cherry. Yes, we're in again. Take your time. Feels like a nice one, he's plodding. You see me feed me bait again. 8 to 10 maggots. Feels like a lovely fish, this. He's proper fish, this one. And I think we're going to finish this video on this one. But I hope you've enjoyed this today. I really have. It's been fantastic. I think we've gone into proper detail, got everything covered for you, from rigs to feeding to depths of water, rotating your lines. It's been a fantastic day for me. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. So all I can say is I'll see you again on the bank sometime soon.